The black sedan crunched over the courtyard gravel and came to a halt. Inside the study, the morning light hit the stone walls, but the room felt cold. William dropped a thick envelope onto the oak desk. The paper hit the wood with a heavy, final sound. His jaw tightened, muscles working beneath the skin. Across the room, the window overlooked the garden, but no one was looking at the view. The official notice lay open. Harry and Meghan were touching down in London within the hour. The silence in the room stretched, thick and suffocating, broken only by the rhythmic, mechanical ticking of the grandfather clock. William pushed away from the desk. He walked toward the fireplace, his movements rigid, his stride short and deliberate. He stopped, staring into the empty hearth. He did not turn. He did not look at his wife. The air in the room seemed to thin as the seconds ticked by. Every movement was calculated, every silence heavy with the weight of what was coming. The clock continued its steady, relentless count, marking the final moments before the arrival. The royal expert in the corner did not wait for an invitation. He flipped open a notebook, the sound sharp in the quiet room. He spread a map of the airport arrivals across the table, his finger tracing a path through the terminal. He pressed down on the paper, hard enough to leave a mark. "They are not coming for a reconciliation," the expert stated, his gaze level and unyielding. "They are here to reclaim the narrative." William turned, his eyes narrowing as he stared at the red ink on the page. The information shifted the ground beneath them. It was no longer a personal family matter. It was a tactical operation. Kate moved toward the desk, her expression settling into a rigid, impenetrable calm. She picked up the itinerary, scanned the list of upcoming public engagements, and set it back down with a precise, rhythmic click of her fingernails against the grain of the wood. "We have an engagement in Surrey," she said, her voice devoid of hesitation. "We proceed as planned." She looked at William, her posture locking into place, signaling the total abandonment of personal frustration in favor of the coming public defense. The room felt smaller, the walls closing in as the strategy solidified. William turned abruptly, the movement sharp enough to catch the air. He snatched his papers from the chair and strode toward the door without looking back. The meeting was over. He did not wait for the staff to reach for the handle. He pushed through the wood, his pace accelerating as he crossed the threshold. The transition was immediate. The quiet of the study vanished, replaced by a low, rising hum of activity beyond the palace walls. As they emerged into the courtyard, the air changed. It became sharp, charged with static. Then, the first flash went off. A single, blinding pulse of white light. Then, another. Within seconds, the courtyard was alive with flickering, rhythmic bursts of light that swept across the stone like distant, erratic lightning. It was a sensory barrage. The sound of rapid-fire shutters clicked in a constant, mechanical wave. William moved forward, his stride long, his gaze fixed on the horizon ahead. Beside him, the other figure kept pace, face set in a mask of total neutrality. The light caught their eyes, reflected off the glass, and exposed every movement to the waiting lenses. They were no longer in private. They were under a microscope, surrounded by the suffocating, relentless intensity of the media storm. The heavy door of the limousine slammed, cutting off the rhythmic clicking of the shutters. The silence inside was immediate and dense. Tires crunched against the gravel, the vehicle pulling away from the palace perimeter and merging into the steady flow of city traffic. William stared straight ahead, his hands resting on his knees. The transition from the chaotic courtyard to the plush, confined interior forced a shift in focus. This was no longer a private dispute. It was a tactical standoff on home soil. Every move now carried weight. Every gesture, every tilt of the head, and every controlled smile would be dissected, analyzed, and used as a weapon in a war of optics. He reached out to adjust his cufflinks, his fingers moving with surgical precision. The motion was steady, showing no tremor. Beside him, the space felt charged. There was no conversation, only the hum of the engine and the encroaching reality of the public schedule. The objective was clear. The narrative had to be reclaimed, one public appearance at a time. He checked his watch, the metal catching the light from the passing street lamps. The next 48 hours would not just define the day. They would define the future of the institution itself. The car accelerated, moving deeper into the city. The cheering began before the vehicle had fully stopped. It was a rhythmic, rising roar that pressed against the windows, a sound built from hundreds of voices. William sat motionless for a heartbeat. He looked at the reflection in the side glass, then drew a breath that filled his lungs and settled his shoulders. He reached for the handle. The door swung open and the wall of sound hit him instantly. He stepped out, his foot hitting the pavement with deliberate force. The crowd surged forward, but he did not acknowledge the individual faces. He moved with a set, mechanical grace, his eyes scanning the path toward the waiting dignitaries. He left the interior of the car, and with it, the weight of the earlier conversation. Every step was measured. He ignored the pulse of the cameras and the frantic shouts from the perimeter. He stopped before the line of officials, his posture rigid, his face an immovable wall of composure. The transition was complete. He reached out to greet the first official, his hand firm, his grip unwavering. The drama of the palace was a world away. Here, under the glare of the morning sun, there was only the duty, the protocol, and the unwavering performance of the role he had been built to play.